Alright, so we're back with Kaiser Redo, continuing our run as Lovecraft's New England. Anyway, unfortunately the Halifax Conference failed. Failure of the Halifax Conference. Representatives of both the Entente and the Reichspakt met in the Canadian city of Halifax this week, hoping to come to a working agreement on cooperation between both sides in their war against the Third Internationale. While there was initially progress, ultimately the German demand that the French state join Middle Europa, their economic union, after regaining Paris, was refused and proved to be the breaking point. The French departed Halifax in anger, with the Germans leaving soon afterwards, and the conference declared a disappointing failure. Their wars against the syndicalists will continue, but they will do so separately and while still eyeing the other side as an old and potentially future enemy. Well, that's sad. That could have gone better. Road integration with Canada. As we continue building up our economy and expanding the road network, the question arose of which direction we should drive on. While the custom in America has always been to drive on the right, Canada has, since the British Revolution in 1925, driven on the left. Some political leaders have suggested that we switch to driving on the left and attempt to better integrate our road network into the Canadian one, whilst others of course wish to stay driving on the right to further amplify that New England is not a British dominion. So we shall adapt to the British model, which gives stability and increase their opinion of us by 10 and our opinion of them by 10, or American cars drive on the side of freedom, which still increases stability but lowers our and their opinion of each other by 10. I don't know, because we're not a British dominion, but we're still part of the Entente, so I think we're going to go with American cars drive on the side of freedom, because we're not a British dominion. We broke away from having their king be our king, so American cars drive on the side of freedom. We just finished the Sea and Alberta National Focus. I'm going with the new gods next. In search of the truth, the hopeful zealot goes, but all the sadder turns, and the more he knows. The current religious and mystical order in the Americas reveals not life lessons and guidance, but miserable platitudes that ultimately leave the soul unsatisfied. The Judeo-Christian God as we know it offers us no answers. Providence, annoyed by the one true God, had seen the dark universe yawning, where the black planets roll without aim, where they roll in their horror unheeded, without knowledge, luster, or name. By studying his mythos and anthropomorphizing his characters into a form of occult study, we can perhaps clean a small sliver of his endless dark wisdom. So the effects: the old gods are dead, long live the new gods, long live the ancient ones and all those who succeed him. I think that's stuff like Cthulhu, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, we get rid of that national spirit, Christian resistance, which is good. That was a terrible thing to have. And it changes the national populace and popularity by 1%, so I'm going with that. Alright, this wasn't super important to us. I just wanted to look at it and see what happened. The Black Revolt just popped up, and that usually happens when the Constitutional American Republic goes like really racist, and that's easy to tell they did, because the person they have in power right now is William Joseph Simmons, who was in our time, he was a Ku Klux Klan leader. So now the Black Revolt rose up. Alright, we finished the new gods, and as you can see, we no longer have that Christian whatever national focus, so we can go start to get rid of the other bad national focus, which I think to do that I have to go down the this route here, the dealing with Curley's IRA. So here, Curley and his allies have plunged New England into anarchy. We cannot let these Irish monsters terrorize our proper English nation. They killed the British Empire once, they cannot be allowed to do it again. It is time to take Curley out and render New England a superior state once more. Long live Lovecraft, and long live the wasps. I don't know what the wasps are, but manpower is minus 5,000, which that's a lot. Or we modify and we also modify the New England Civil War by, we get 0.05 more political power, and our stability goes up by 5%, which that's also good. Order restored in New England. While New England still labors under Canadian control, the New Englander military has asserted enough control over our own borders that a semblance of greater autonomy is now possible to exert. This is not independence, far from it, but it means we no longer have to rely on Canadian troops to secure our borders. Excellent. So New England is now just a puppet of the Kingdom of Canada, which I don't know what we were before. That's different enough from that. So I'm going to go look to see if that changed anything majorly. If it lets me. Oh, come on. Come on. great. I don't think it changed literally anything. Oh well. Jack the Doberman. As man falls back into his usual routine of killing his neighbors, the animal world is not spared from the violence either. A happy story, however, emerged from Connecticut where a young Doberman, ironically enough named Jack, was able to stop the militia agents from blowing up a bomb in Hartford. The dog was training in cooperation with the Connecticut National Guard when his patrol spotted the agents who promptly tried to escape from capture. With the courage of a true American, the little dog immediately ran after them and pulled one of the two men down, leading to his capture. This man later turned out to be none other than Paul Rashford, a target long sought after by the Hartford Police Department for his implication in the riots only a few months earlier, and who seems to have established a whole network of operatives in Connecticut. Willis's capture by no means marks the end of the socialist threat in the state. Jack has dealt a heavy blow to their leadership. We express our thanks to this good boy, so we get base stability plus 1%. Also, how I pointed out the Black Revolt before, they're losing, but the Pacific States over here is looking good, and they're taking out most of the Western Command Center. Rise of Cosmicism. So, before I read this, I wanted to say, when I did my test run, I never read these events, so I don't know what they're going to say exactly. But this is, I think, where things might start to get dark in this. Anyway, bunch together a group of people deliberately chosen for strong religious feelings, and you have a practical guarantee of dark morbidities expressed in crime, perversion, and insanity. By way of shattering the old vestiges of religion and the occult within New England, we have created a dark cultural vacuum that has given birth to a new religion. Where once stood old Masonic halls and church circles, now followers of Providence have established their own groups that aim to study and codify Cosmicism, Lovecraft's principal philosophy. Rather than the naive platitudes of the old order, Cosmicism states that there is no recognizable divine presence such as a god in the universe, and that humans are particularly insignificant in the larger scheme of intergalactic existence. There is no higher purpose, nor grand notions of what we could conventionally call good or evil. There is only the infinite futility of existence, a fragile and delicate flash in the pan of a dark and uncaring universe, barely registered by the cosmic gods that dwell beyond our perception and shape our reality through hypergeometry. To a student at Cosmicism, these beings are not simply fantasy, but statistical inevitability given the infinite and terrifying scale of the universe. Curiouser. Huh. So we're just getting more cult-like. Alright, so we're continuing with this, I guess. Rise of Cosmicism, Part 2. Some groups have taken to forming cults to honor these higher forces and carry out their will on Earth in the hopes of granting humanity greater status in the eyes of these outer gods. Others, however, have learned to rage against this miserable reality, that there is no loving God defending humanity from the alien horrors beyond space and time. Then there's at least one man that stands against the forces of chaos on Earth and gives humanity meaning. Providence, the Godhead, shall stand as a symbol against the forces that threaten civilization and humankind. With more and more practitioners joining each side with every passing day, it is unclear which group will come to dominate the Cosmicist schism. Just to make this worthwhile, I want the cult to go on, but so, it doesn't tell me what does what, but I'm assuming the Providence has opened their eyes to the true gods is going to be the cult, so I want to say that one, so the Providence affects us all, because as other events, this one doesn't tell me the effects of the choices. I'm still trying to help fix the New England Civil War, and we just finished dealing with Curly's IRA or whatever it was called, so I'm going to sit curing New England next. New England has been plunged into a civil war, one not seen before in the nation's history. Somehow, even though New England was formed to escape a civil war has found its way into New England, and even though Curly and his Irish Republican army have been dealt with, many Republican, Socialist, and Christian elements in New England still feebly opposing Providence rule. I think they should just be opposed, but anyway, we unlocked the decisions to secure New England, so I'm going to do that because I want to get the Civil War out of the way. Again, this doesn't directly affect us, but so much for them rising up. Black Revolt has capitulated. The Black American government has gone into exile and their main forces have capitulated to the Constitutional American Republic, who is now in control of their home area. Although the struggles between the Constitutional American Republic and the Black Revolt are over, the Constitutional American Republic is still at all-out war and the fighting continues elsewhere. Uncertain times. Alright, so we finally finished that last focus, so I can now deal with the New England Civil War. In the wake of order's collapse, New England has descended into anarchy. And out of that anarchy, the most extreme rise. the main contenders being the disorganized Republican resistance and the socialist forces to the north. Lovecraft has an extremely Anglophilic faction and appear to be on top, and even has the marginal blessing of the crown. So we had to start with the Vermont campaign. Vermont is home to Aiken, as well as other disgusting socialist resistance. With Curly gone, Vermont is now the epicenter of resistance to Lovecraft's rule, but with the Canadians on the border and loyal legions of Lovecraftian troops, we can engage in a mighty offensive in Vermont that will split the rebel forces in twain. New England is in it, so we had to have been in a state of civil war. Anyway, after 30 days, we'll gain a core on Vermont and will no longer be demilitarized. Alright. I want to try to get these national focuses up here, like, into the world. Before I can do that, I have to do the ones like nationalized electric boat, so I can get down to the terror from the deep, so I'm going with this one next. One key part of Lovecraft's more national syndicalist economic policy is that of nationalizing major companies. One such major company that is to be nationalized is the Electric Boat Ship Company, so they can produce powerful vessels for our nation. This is another part of Lovecraft's broad effort to focus on the seas and construct a powerful navy for New England. This is a hopeful start to some of the more ambitious projects that the nation is embarking on. So we'll gain an electric boat spirit, which will get naval resource speed plus 10%. Destroyers will get sub detection plus 10%. Max speed will be a plus 10%, and surface visibility will go down by 10%. Submarines will get surface visibility minus 10%, and sub visibility minus 10%. And their speed will go up by 5%. We'll also get a small ship manufacturer. Then upstate New York will get 2 building slots and 2 naval dockyards. Alright, that sounds good. Sorry I forgot to record, but I took this national focus, which was Project Dunwich Horror, and would give us 2 times 200% research bonus for nuclear technology. Any fool can see that the way of the future is harnessing the atom, and that the first nation to acquire atomic weapons will wield incredible power. So, on orders of Lovecraft, the project dubbed the Dunwich Horror is to begin. That will see New England's finest scientists work tirelessly to harness the power of atomic technology. And once this project is finished, we will stand through the ages, a fixed monument set eternally in the shadow of Durfee's ice-clad peak. So he's calling it Dunwich Horror when America actually made the new atomic weapons. We called it the Manhattan Project. I'm continuing down this branch of dealing with the New England Civil War because we finished the Vermont one at some point. I don't know when. But anyway, secure New Hampshire. Now that Vermont has fallen, the time has come to drive east. The next logical place to mount an offensive would be the state of New Hampshire. The governor of the state, Styles Bridges, is less than welcoming to Lovecraft's rule and has actively resisted the rule of Providence Society and the Loyal Coalition. We must use our loyal troops to take them out, even though Canada is less supportive of this campaign. So they still have governors, so I guess we're not completely not a democracy anymore. Anyway, let's secure New Hampshire. Alright, so we finally secured New Hampshire, so we can go on to securing Maine next. Now that the rebel forces have been split, the chips start to fall away. The final pocket of resistance in the east is in the state of Maine. Governor Louis O. Barrows has declared Maine separate from the rest of New England and rallied the state's National Guard to his side, along with several defectors and syndicalist militias. They must be taken out, and the job won't be too hard, considering the fact that they are cut off from the rest of the nation, and Canada has pledged their full support. We have secured New Hampshire as a prerequisite. When this is removed after 30 days, we get a core on Maine. It's no longer demilitarized. Alright. So I wasn't sure how to pronounce it, so I looked it up, but anyway, this is the next national focus we're going with after the Project Dunwich Horror. Anyway, I didn't know how to pronounce Innsmouth, but they said to pronounce it like Plymouth, so Innsmouth. Anyway, Project Shadow over Innsmouth. The miracle weapon projects are starting with an effort to build mighty rockets that will see man conquer the cosmos and beyond. This project has been dubbed the Shadow over Innsmouth. They spelled Innsmouth wrong, referencing one of Lovecraft's most famous novels. Once this project is complete, all other nations will fear us and our mighty rocketry technology. They also put out instead of our. Anyway, 2 times 200% research bonus for jet technology. Alright. I got this event and I had no clue what it's about because I'd never seen it, but anyway. Red Flood. Ignatius, Lithuania's most famous impressionist writer, has recently published a new book, Raidonasis Tivanus. I don't know how to pronounce that. I can't speak Lithuanian. The Red Flood that has just breached Lithuanian Lithuania's prison in literary obscurity. Much like his famous Caprellus, Red Flood is a gripping impressionist tale about a love story between two young individuals in a divided country. But what is most interesting is the setting of this story. The novel takes place in an alternate timeline where the Russians earn a Pyrrhic victory in the Russo-Japanese War. This leads to a chain of events that results in a world war where France falls to Germany as the Germanic homelands back east are engulfed by revolution, falling to a syndicalist regime. The French were not able to seize on this opportunity of weakness, as they themselves were toppled by surrealist and avant-garde forces, as the army mutinies and French normalcy collapses overnight. Meanwhile, Russia is thrown into chaos as Kolchak seizes power, supported by the Black Hundreds, creating a totalitarian ultranationalist dictatorship with a loose grip on the many territories outside of Moscow's reach. Europe is soon embroiled into a war once more, and Lithuania becomes the front line of the Eastern Front. A bloodbath between the Germans and Russians where the strongest men perish and die in minutes. The end of the novel hints at a possible Russian breakthrough as well as a naval invasion by an ambitious British Empire. The book has been criticized for horrid descriptions of cruelty and war crimes at I forget how I pronounced it, but Senis defends his tale, saying that something like this could have never happened in another universe. So basically, France becomes like no. Russia becomes like Nazi Germany, I think. And Germany becomes socialist, or communist, whatever you want to call it. So Germany's basically our World War II Russia, and Russia's our World War II Germany fighting. Then, oh well. Anyway, that's about all the time I have for this part. Oh wait, no, I had to say the mad ravings of a starving artist, nothing more. Anyway, now that's about all the time I have for this part, so goodbye for now.